Resolute Exposure is a social media platform. Almost all content on Resolute Exposure is created by citizen journalists. I share content created by citizen journalists who I believe to be the best at finding facts buried deep into the abyss, or outlets who I believe to be best for verifiable information. We have to operate within their system, and we only have the information that they allow us to have. These citizen journalists who nerd out on fact-finding missions and then add their opinion to better inform me to make the best choice for me in this war of narratives is Resolute. This information war is a battle for your mind and ultimately compliance. While mainstream media dismisses social platforms as mere echo chambers for fake news, independent spaces like this prove that shared content and live dialogue actually foster deeper critical thinking. So, I am excited to share the content in hopes you'll turn off mainstream media, who I believe is just a version of entertainment. So again, welcome to Resolute Exposure.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fakes aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
As the world watches and listens in horror, the peaceful pro-democracy demonstration in China comes to a violent and bloody end.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Wolves hiding nearby, whispering do or die around me. You say your last good night while I get
There is another very important phase of warfare. It has as its target not the body, but the mind of the enemy.
The target of psychological warfare is against the enemy's mind.
It is words and ideas.
The ammunition used by Psywar.
Its mission is to influence the thoughts of the enemy soldier, and at the same time
is expected and encouraged to study foreign languages and the social sciences such as history, economics, and sociology. He must have a broad and sympathetic understanding of all phases of human experience.
gripping at my skin, the walls of night closing.
But the use of this force as an integral part of combat has now taken on new form.
As I wait to say my last goodbye.
These are the Psy-War soldiers.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of the host, producers, or any affiliated organization. This podcast may include sensitive discussion related to topics such as child protection, abuse, and criminal behavior. The content is intended for informational, educational, and awareness purposes only, does not constitute legal, medical, or professional advice. Any reference to individuals, cases, or events are based on personal perspective, professional experience, or publicly available information and should not be interpreted as statements of fact regarding any specific person or situation. The host, speakers, and producers disclaim any liability for actions taken by listeners based on the content of this podcast. Listeners are encouraged to seek qualified professional guidance for their specific circumstances. Listeners' discretion is advised. All individuals are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. All right, guys. Welcome to a Sunday night edition of Caught Up. The reason it's on a Sunday night is because I had plans on Thursday night and had to shift it. So we're going to do it on Saturday, and that didn't work. And so here we are on Sunday. My guest tonight is Scrappydawg, but I'm not so sure. Let's see where he's at. He's in here, but he's not in here. 1 second. Let me see. There he goes. Hang on. There we are.
I'm here.
There we are. You're live, Scrappy, so be careful.
T-Mobile.
What's that?
Well, T-Mobile took over my phone about a month ago, and they have screwed my whole phone system. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell to do with this stupid thing. Every time I try to do something always screws up on it. So, it's on the crazy.
That's all right. You're here. That's all that matters. How you doing, man?
Doing good.
Doing good.
Trying to stay cool.
Trying to stay cool. Yeah, it was hot this week. Humid. Maybe not as.
Man, you meant sultry. Sultry. As we say in the South, it's sultry.
That's fine. It's humid. So, did you see last week where we had Heath on?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
He's a good buddy of mine. We have a lot in common, but we also have a lot that we don't kind of meet on. But we agree to disagree and move on.
So it's cool because we're all sort of similar, saying the same things, and the direction to getting there is different. But I told him that I needed him to come on, me and you and him on a Caught Up.
Oh yes, that'd be great. Me and him been since you said that. Me and him really been throwing stuff at each other since then.
Oh, you mean like slings and arrows type stuff?
No, like I'd catch something on a reel or whatever, like send it to him. He'll catch something on a reel and he'll send it to me, and it's like, okay, yeah, let's get this going.
Yeah, Heath.
We kind of have the same mindset as to the indoctrination that's being brought upon the American world, basically the global public, with the Facebook and Twitter and all the social media, how they are covering stuff up. And we've been around long enough to know, and been in it long enough to know that, wait a minute, let's go back here. Let's go back into this era and see what they're saying then, and then compare it to what they're saying now.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I mean, that's because I do a lot of the same thing. The past, how does it go? The past reveals there's a saying out there. Kim will know what it is. She'll let me know exactly how I messed that all up. But anyway, the past review or the future reviews the past. And then anyway, there's a saying, and I messed it up. But I do the same thing, man. I go back and look and see what was going on and to where we're at now. And so, but funny you say that. Tonight I want to talk about civics I have DEFCON Zero. That's Josh Reed and Alpha Warrior off of Badlands Media, and they do a podcast. They have a show called DEFCON Zero, and it's like a 6-minute discussion type thing that they're talking about, where it goes all the way back to the beginning, things you and I talked about before. Yeah, she says, "Yep, future proofs past." So yeah, so I got it right. But so I want to talk. I want to watch, like, a couple minutes of it. Stop it. Let's see what you got to say.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. Say couple more minutes. Stop it. See what you got to say, and then let it finish. And that kind of thing. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the whole Israel thing that was going on. I made a post earlier today on Facebook talking about how Israel was the problem, and I may have confused some people on there. I'm not talking about the Israelite people. I'm
No,
talking
it
about
isn't real.
it's
It's called "Isn't Real"
Isn't
because
Real.
it isn't real, and Satan Yehu that they got over there running the country is not a Jew. He's not a Hebrew. He's not an Israelite. He's a freaking Eastern European from Poland, and his name is Malachowski, not Satan Yahoo.
I don't know about all that stuff, but what I do know about is when I said they were the problem, because we are American Christian in this country, and we've been told that we are supposed to protect and save Israel, right?
Nope, nope, nope,
That
nope. That's a Zionist lie.
hang on, Scrappy, hang on. And the Bible says that Israel is I'm
God's chosen people.
that kind of thing.
Wrong.
Hang
Don't
on.
say it.
Hang on. We're going to talk about this near the end. So anyway, I was just trying to say that the post that I made, people, they don't understand if they're arguing over, and nobody argued on my post, but if they're arguing over the property lines versus the people, that's what they want you to do. You know what I mean? So anyway, also, I want to let everybody know, in a couple weeks, I'll have the website for Resolute Exposure up, right? As you can see, I got shirts. I got like a hoodie, a shirt, and a hat. And I've done these demos to see how they are. And then let's see, here's the hat. I don't know if you can kind of see it, but I'm going to take it to a local print company. I got those things off the internet, like I said, as a demo. And what we're going to do is we're going to have Resolute Exposure on the chest, and then on the back we're going to have the Caught Up, which is the mic, and the Ghost, and the lettering Caught Up, and then the other one will be Blount County Breakdown, and those will become available if you should want something like that, to wear around or whatever. So it'll be a hoodie, a shirt, and a hat on the website. The only reason I'm doing it is because my son said, if you have a website, you got to have some sort of merch. Just information being posted on the website is not going to be enough to attract people. He seems to think that with a little bit of merchandise, that'll help track whatever. My goal is to break even on it, because I was never intended to to make money on this thing. You know what I mean? So, but if you was to want to wear a Resolute Exposure hat or a Resolute Exposure T-shirt with your favorite show, whether it be Caught Up or Blount County Breakdown, and then on the sleeves it'll have like American flag, and over here on that side too. Anyway, that is coming. So I just wanted to put that out there. So, but yeah, Scrappy, you're gonna have to slow down on me when you start bringing all these Satan on you and all this other stuff. I love it. I really do love it, but I think it's funny at the same time. So
I'm sorry.
you don't have to be
I was
sorry at
sitting there
all.
thinking, I'm telling Heath they need to calm down a little bit on the information, because you get a little too fast for these people. You got to slow down. The hillbillies. We got to remember, we know all this, and we want to get it all out as quick as we can, but we got to remember, we got to slow down and get the information out slowly to them, because you override. Once you go so far, and you kind of haywire their brain circuits, and they're like, it's just like in one ear and out the other, and they can't You got to give them time to process the information that you give. And stuff. Yeah, I get a little carried away. But,
Even me, I don't know everything that you said right there, because see, what I really try to do is I try to get the information that is given to us, and you may have access to that information, but we're going to have to get you hooked up with a laptop so that you can share your information versus the cell phone. And that way, when you're talking and people are going, what the heck's this crazy old bearded dude saying? Then you can pop that little article up that shows this is what they were saying in the 1980s or late 70s that led to where we are now. And then they can go, holy cow, it's sort of like a movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got to find a battery for mine. I mean, my
your
laptop, or just get me another daggone laptop and just
get another laptop.
I just have to get a newer version of laptop. My laptop goes back to 05, 06.
Yeah.
So it's a Hewlett Packard, but
Or if you have access to a PC, you know what I mean?
A box, an old school box computer.
Look, Robert and my son both have these fancy. I don't. You know how we
I had back in the day. I had an Alienware. And that thing cost me more money than I wanted to fool with it. Every time I turned around, I was spending money on that thing. Well, I got tired of it.
You know how we hate the AI data centers?
Oh,
right.
Don't make me go there.
Okay, well, I'm not. I'm just using.
I'm gonna hurt feelings when I go there.
I just hang on. It's just an example. Robert's PC and all 8 of his screens that he's got. Like he pulls something up right here, right here, right here, right here, right here.
Oh, I know.
So I'm gonna get rid of the laptop eventually and do the same thing because between him and my son Jacob, they tell me that I can have twice as much space or storage. It'll be faster, and then if I put 3 or 4 screens in. Because right now I got the laptop and then I got a monitor over here. So everything that I want to bring over is on the screen. Before I had to split the screen on my laptop. So it was only half of what we would see now plus half of what I have, to share. So once I got the monitor, so I kind of understand the concept. So but
I'd have to build a all new room to put all that stuff in. I ain't got no room for that. I live in a 12 by 60 with a 14 by 16 addition. Single wide trailer. I barely got room for me and my dogs in it.
all you need is the PC and one monitor. You're good right where you're at, or just a laptop. But the reason why would be so when we get into depths like this, you can grab it and pull it up on screen and.
I want to get into doing that. Like I say, my laptop fagged out on me with the battery, and I'm hoping it's just a battery. I'm hoping it did not just finally just give up the ghost. I've got all kinds of stuff on it I don't want to lose. I'm going to pay somebody to be able to get it off of, to put it on new. So I'm gonna look at getting a newer, updated, little bit more lower, gigabyte and memory laptop, and because I wasn't planning on doing none of this. I mean, I did this back in the. I mean, I was doing this in the late 90s and in the early 2000s, and I just got away from it. And now I'm thrown back into it. And then my laptop decided, I'm gonna give up. I'm done.
So Robert and I, we've done this to people now. You know what I mean? We're like, hey, it's so ironically, this show has 100 and I think we're at 38 episodes, 2.5 years old. I started out with a little cell phone like you, and it had like a microphone with a little lamp on it. And I would face it where my TV was in the background. I'd have YouTube on. I'd be playing People on the Porch or, something like that. And then I would physically read whatever it was, because on the phone you couldn't do all that stuff like that, So then my son Jacob helped me, talked me into getting a laptop, did all the overlays and the logos and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And showed me, I guess gave me a starter's course on how to do it, and then told me not to bother him on everything else I could Google it and figure it out. And so I lived with him for 9 months, and so he would be in the next room, and I'd be like, Jacob, I got an issue. And he's like, I told you, I'm not showing you. And so it kind of made me mad in the beginning because I was like, most of the time it was just one step I was missing, and it would fix it, right? Hey, Heath on YouTube. Hello, Heath. And so, and it would take me a little while to figure it out. Well, now he's in the Army, and he's, in a whole other state. And so because he did what he did, I know how to do these things now. I can kind of now. It may take me a little bit of time, especially if it's a new issue. You know what I mean?
When I started this internet stuff, we're talking 95.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I thought on a
shit didn't work right in 95, man. You had like AOL and all that,
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about dial-up networking. We're talking about 5.5-inch floppy disk setup. We're talking about a desktop that had like 3 gigabytes of hard drive, and I moved, and that was it. You had to learn it yourself. I didn't take computer in high school. If I took computer in high school, I would have known DOS.
Me too, man.
And I didn't.
You had to type
I wasn't
everything
interested in that, to typing it all in. And so when Windows 95 come out, that was a game breaker for us retards who didn't take DOS in high school. We just had point, click, point, click, point, click. It was the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But as it increased, your little 5.5 floppy become a 3-inch floppy. So you had to take the 5.5 floppy out and put a 3-inch floppy disk drive in. Then the 3-inch floppy disk drive becomes a CD drive. So you had to take that out and do a CD drive in. And then you had to learn how to install memory sticks, because your memory went from 500 kilobytes to 2,500 and then you still had the dial up, that took 20 minutes to get you online.
Very true.
And then you had AOL, you had the freebies that there was out there that you get on free. You just had to get the disc, but you had to have the disc, so you had to put the CD drive in to be able to. And then they come out with DVD drives and CD DVDs. I mean, you were constantly. Do you not remember the expos where they would have the computer expos, where you go to the expos at the expo center and start buying equipment to build your computer up to increase all your stuff you got? So it's the same thing. It's the same thing now. It's just a whole different ball game, and it's like, I want to go back through this stuff that I did back in the 90s to the 2000s to build my system up, and then they come out with the the feed that you got. The internet went from cable to Ethernet, so you had to go get a whole new system for that to put in your computer, and then it went into the Wi-Fi. So that was a whole new thing you had to buy to put in your computer. You had to increase your memory, you had to increase your hard drive, you had to increase everything, and it was like the more and more it got, the harder and harder it got to put it together.
It's funny. You just went through the progression of the computer from basically start to where we are now.
Yeah.
So I tell people all the time, or my kids, they're not kids, they're young men. I tell them all the time, Generation X we made everything possible for everybody else. We had to go through all the shit in order to get to where we are now, where everybody else that like their age just has it and knows how to use it the way it was. They didn't have to worry about DOS. To make a line go across the computer, it took 3 days worth of computer class at 1 hour a day, typing DOS in. And then when you finally hit enter,
movement that you wanted to make.
And it went all the way. We were all like, holy cow, we made that work. And it's like,
I got you a story.
Make it quick.
That's a quick story.
He says, hang on. He says the necessity is the mother of invention, or so they say. And then use links. You'll have a lot less A lot of lessons
No,
right.
no, that's Linux.
Linux.
That's
Oh
Linux.
yeah, I
That's
misread it.
Linux.
My
Yeah, you
bad. I
Linux.
misread it.
Yeah, I know Linux. I
You
remember
know.
Linux from back in the day. But my third wife and I were looking for a house, and we went to look at a house, and there was an old rotary phone on the wall, and it was connected to a party line. Still connected to a party line. This is like 2005. Still connected to a party line. So you
That's
picked it
cool.
up, it still had a dial tone.
Yeah.
So I said, Elizabeth, why don't you make the phone call? So she reaches up there and she gets that phone. She hears the dial tone, because we still had all landlines at that time, and she's looking at this thing and she's going like, how does it work? And I grabbed one and I said, it works like this.
That's
And
funny.
she was like 12 at this time, So it's like, okay, they didn't know. We went from to, and then computers. We were the first ones to deal with the computer where you didn't have internet. And then the internet come in. We're the first ones to deal with that. And
Yeah.
I mean, we were the basically, like I said, we were the cavemen who created fire and went through it and brought them to where they are today. And we're like, we don't understand. We'll figure it out, though.
Yeah,
I guarantee you, we'll figure it out. We'll make it work better.
And I think we've done a fantastic job, because I like where I'm at. My laptop is a mini. So like my grandfather, and I'll stop and we'll get on to the show. My grandfather owned an advertising agency. So when I was born till I was 14, I did radio and TV commercials. Baby commercials in the beginning, and then all the way up to the runaway teenager type thing. But the production studio and all that stuff that at his agency that we would go to had a back room where it had a recording studio for audio, and then anything that they did that required cameras, whether it was on location or something like that. But then it had all of and it was all it wasn't digital. What was before digital? What are the analog? It was all analog. So reel-to-reel machines. So let's see, which direction can I go here? It's this way. This way. Right there. See that?
Yep.
That's
a reel-to-reel.
That was my dad's.
Reel-to-reel.
Yeah, that was my dad's right there. But my dad
that is the best sound you'll ever hear of anything played on that right there.
And it's a 4-track, so it's in stereo.
It's 4-track. It's not 8-track.
I don't know. You might know better than I do, but it's a TX. Anyway, what I was trying to say was all of that and everything that they had in that big agency to make all that work so that we could do what we're doing right now is all on my laptop. That's it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So
like I say, what would your grandpa think if you come up to him and say, this is what we can do today?
So he was aware of what was going on before he passed away. He was 94, World War II vet. I'm gonna sound like Tim Burchett for a minute. My grandfather was a World War II vet, drill sergeant, blah, blah. Anyway, had an advertising agency, but he knew what technology was doing. But no, I think he would probably be impressed with what was going on right now for sure, especially with me. And he may not be as happy about the political side of things, but the fact that I was doing things like I did when I was a kid, you know what I mean? Just at this level. So he says, a web is always a trap, hence the World Wide Web. It's very true. See, that's why we're going to get Heath and Scrappy and all of us on the show. It's going to be fantastic, man. And, and because when he comes up with that right there, there's so much truth in what he's saying.
Well, words have meaning and words have power, and you have to understand and realize that the tongue, the Bible says it in Psalms. A man who can bridle the tongue has the most power, because the tongue is the hardest thing to control because it has the words of life or death.
So it's odd that an old guy like you with the big old beard, redneck,
Don't
knows
let me
all.
hillbilly. I
Knows
ain't no
all. I
redneck.
mean, you know about computers enough to be able to have that discussion. Then now you're getting biblical, and we're not doing that, man. So,
You do know I'm ordained minister, right?
oh my God, you should have never said that. You realize you're up for a court of public opinion when you say stuff like that. Because I
I
say
don't
something.
care.
I
I
know
don't
I don't
care.
either, but I say stupid
But
stuff, and believe me.
well, let's put it this way.
Look,
Every word that comes out of my mouth is mine, belongs to me, and I'm expressing my First Amendment right to speak my opinion. If you've got a problem, there's no problem. You want to have if you get an issue, contact me, William Jones on Facebook. That's
you know,
fine.
no, it's
We will have a conversation. I have no problem in conversing with you.
that's
But
so
don't come
funny.
on Brian. Don't come
No,
on
no, they won't.
Resolution,
No, they would come.
Resolution Exposure and say
No.
anything about what I say because what I'm saying is my opinion alone. You got a problem with it? Come talk to me.
Okay, so
Don't be
hang
a
on.
coward and come on Brian. Come and be a man or a woman, whatever, and talk to me because I'll be a man and I'll talk to you back. Because basically, like I said, I'm not a redneck. I'm a hillbilly. I ain't got no problem in coming back at you if you want to come at me. But I
Okay,
can educate you if you want to have an open mind.
are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, they wouldn't come after me; they'd come after you. You know what I'm
Don't
saying?
come after him. Don't come
They, they,
after me.
they come after me because of the dumb shit that I say. So they're obviously going to come after you.
Don't come
You
after me. I'm loving it. I love it. I mean, I like it.
The best part about it is you gave all your information out there, and no part of it said anonymous.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm not afraid. I'm not scared. I'm a hillbilly. I ain't scared.
All right, you ready to talk some civics here?
Let's do it.
Let's see. Maybe you can. All right. So this is DEFCON Zero. They're from Badlands Media. Josh Reed is the guy on the left, the white-haired with the beard. Alpha Warrior is the guy with the hat. They're both former military. Josh is Navy. Alpha is Marine. Plus, he was an officer. And during the just to give a little bit of history, during the January 26th thing, or I'm saying it wrong. When they the insurrection, when they tried to say the insurrection. Anyway, the FBI came after Alpha, and it was a 4-year battle. He ended up winning. I don't remember if he was there or not at the Capitol building on that day when all that went down. But anyway, they're both pretty good at what they say as far as the information that they have and their opinion to it, right? And so this particular part, they talk about, mostly Josh talks about it, the history of our country, going all the way back to 1776, 25 years later, and so on and so forth. And like I said, it's about 6 minutes long. So I'm going to play a little bit of it, and then I'm going to stop it, and then you and I can conversate about whether we agree or we don't agree or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
All right, no problem.
Right, here we go.
But I think that over the last week, they've been trying to respark the Summer of Love 2.0 rebirth riots, and they failed. And that is telling you who is really in control and who's in charge. The United States of America is an interesting place. Did you know, Alpha, that our country was founded through the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. And a lot of people confuse the Declaration and the Constitution. I just saw a post on X a little while ago. They said, in the Constitution, it says that we can overthrow our government. No, it actually says that in the Declaration, not the Constitution. And we have 4 exerted rights within the Declaration. That is life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and the ability to overthrow your government or remove your government for tyranny and oppression.
Scrappy. Uh-oh. Just wait on him a second. Did you hear that?
Oh, crap. Yeah, I heard it. I'm trying to get my camera to come on.
There you go.
Yeah, I heard it.
So, did you hear what he talked about, the difference between the Bill of Rights and the Constitution? And
there's no difference.
Listen to
he was talking about the Declaration of Independence.
My bad. Did I misspeak?
Yeah, you said the Bill of Rights. It's the Declaration where it says that it's the people's right to throw off the government if it is. But the Declaration of Independence are as much a part of the Constitution.
Yeah. He goes on further. I started it back over, so we'll listen to it again because I didn't know when you paused there for a minute. So hang on, here we go.
Charge. The United States of America is an interesting place. Did you know, Alpha, that our country was founded through the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. And a lot of people confuse the Declaration and the Constitution. I just saw a post on X a little while ago. They said, in the Constitution, it says that we can overthrow our government. No, it actually says that in the Declaration, not the Constitution. We have 4 exerted rights within the Declaration. That is life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and the ability to overthrow your government or remove your government for tyranny and oppression.
That's true. Would you not agree?
Well, yeah, but that's again.
You're mute. Okay.
That makes it as much a part of our Constitution because that was the beginning of the founding of this country.
Right.
Was that we were doing just that. We were throwing off a tyrannical government. And in the Constitution, the power of the government was given to the people, not to a group of individuals like in Europe, which was the monarchy that had control over the people. In our government, when we threw off that type of government, we created a new government that stated that the people were the ones who controlled the government and had the authority to do just that without having to say it. The only reason we have the Bill of Rights is because Samuel Adams said that we needed to that they needed to, when they wrote the Constitution and ratified the Constitution, that they needed to set down a group of rules to let the government that they were creating, the constitutional republic, those that were being set apart to come up and make their 8 enumerated decisions that they were able to make, which they have during the Heath said it best, when they incorporated it, they kind of made their own rules at that point, and tried to they keep trying to overwrite the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
Scrappy, hang on.
Yeah.
Just because you're going way far ahead, but
I'm getting ahead of myself, ain't I? Okay.
Yeah, but what he's saying here is that the Declaration of Independence gives the people the authority to do that, to overthrow a tyrannical government, where it doesn't say that directly in the Constitution.
No, doesn't have to, because they just come out of that.
So hang on, here we go. Next part.
But that was never really ratified within the Constitution. Now, do you want to know why that really didn't come into the Constitution?
I do want to know why.
So, after the Declaration of Independence, the United States of America was under something known as the Articles of Confederation. So, basically, you know how people always talk about how at the top of the Declaration of Independence it says, "We, the United States," and United is always small, lowercase. The reason why is because the 13 United is not meant to be capitalized. What he's talking about is we are united sovereign individual states that are declaring independence from Great Britain. The united part didn't come till later and become emphasized. When Jefferson wrote that, he wrote that as more of just an adverb, not an adverb, just an adjective describing the states as we're united states, but we're all individual sovereign nations. The Articles of Confederation was more like a just kind of a very basic agreement between these individual sovereign countries of how we want to operate between each other. And the problem is that it didn't work. The first United States, after the signing of the Declaration, after the winning of the Revolutionary War, it didn't work. You had a makeshift Congress that had zero power. They never showed up for any deliberations. There was interstate matters that would escalate massively, and the Congress had no control or authority over it. You had Shays' Rebellion in Massachusetts, which kind of brought about the idea that we need some type of formalized, federalized government. And this is where people like James Madison really started to kind of read and research into democracies and republicans and understand that the Articles of Confederation were not going to work, that they had to move towards a whole new restructuring of the United States of America. This is where.
So what do you think about that? The Articles of Confederation, and before what was Congress before? What'd they call them?
Um,
I don't think it was called Congress before 1776.
Yeah, it was still Congress. It was still Congress.
It was was it the Continental Congress?
The Continental Congress, yeah. The Continental
Congress. So.
That's what they call it, Continental Congress. But
so
again, it depends on which side you are reading and listening to. When you talk about James Madison, he was a Federalist. And when you read the Federalist Papers, that's where he's getting his information from, is the Federalist Papers. You read the Thomas Jefferson's papers, Thomas Jefferson was an anti-federalist, and the anti-federalist paper said something totally different. And so and I don't want to get ahead of myself because I don't know if he's going to go into it or not about the conflict that was erupting during the convention for the Constitutional Convention.
So he kind of does, but remember it's only like 6 minutes long, so it's super quick, which is why I was saying. So the Articles of Confederation, do you know anything about? Because that's how they operated before.
Well, they operated under a simple deal that it was enumerated of what it was 13 separate states.
Yep.
Countries, nations that come together to unify and work amongst each other in trade and commerce. And
yep.
And stuff like that.
Because remember when you and I talked about the Secret Service, the reason it was created was because one state had a different currency than the other. They wanted to make it one, and because some of these states didn't agree, or the individual people within the state
it was all gold currency. There was no dollars. There was no paper. There was no paper dollars at that. It was all gold and silver. It was all gold and silver. And each state had their own weights and measures toward gold and silver, and so they were trying to get that worked out, and to where this cost for gold, this much for silver, this how much, and so it was a real hodgepodge. So that's when they went into to do the Constitution. But in the ruling under the Continental Congress is it took 2/3 vote to pass any new legislation or amendments through the Declaration. And when they met with the Constitutional Convention, they cut it down to a 3/4 vote, which was a big deal. which was a big controversy back in that day. It's not spoken about today, but it was a big controversy that they took it out to be a 2/3 to back down to a 3/4. So for 13 states, you only had 9 states that had to agree, and you left 3 states out.
Right. So he just said that the Congress didn't have the power that they thought they were going to have through the the Articles of Confederation, which
Yeah,
is
the
why
Articles
they
of Confederation, yeah.
So listen, he talks about going 25 years fast forward, right? Watch.
You get the Federalist Papers with Madison and Jefferson talking back and forth on a lot of these ideas of kind of the conforming of the modern day Constitution. And the reason why I was saying that was kind of left out from the Declaration is because the Constitution wasn't fully ratified until 1792. Now think about that. I mean, 1792, that's 12, what is that, 25 years. There's like 25 years in between 1776 and 1792 that this country was failing, that it wasn't working. The British militaries, they never left after they lost the Revolutionary War. They stayed in a lot of different of the states. A lot of the states never want to be a part of a sovereign nation. They still want to be a part of the British Empire. So, we had a lot of infiltration. We had a lot of problems in this country. And what ended up coming out of it, it was James Madison. And he went out there and he went to George Washington, who was retired after the Revolutionary War. He said, I need your help. I need you to help me get all of these delegates from all the 13 states to Virginia to discuss what we need to do next. And they all showed up and only 5 of them showed up there. And so they went back at it again. And they recruited more. Alexander Hamilton got involved, and they were able to get all 13 delegates into Philadelphia. And for the next 2 weeks, they deliberated over how to basically operate. And one of the best ways that they looked at this is that.
So this is what you was talking about right there. There was a conflict during that time that they were in Pennsylvania trying to come up with the determining numbers there, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Plus, also, what he's not stating is that they went into that little room up there and shut it down. Nobody was allowed in. No press. No, it was not under scrutiny of any public official or anything. They went in there privately to set this up. They basically sequestered themselves as a grand jury in a room to do this without any outside conflict, any outside conviction or anything to do this.
So Heath says it was Constitution for, parentheses, these United States, but then when the banking cartel hijacked it in 1871, it was changed to where it was capitalized, United States of America. So basically, he says we had a Constitution prior to 1871. I agree with that.
Yep.
I agree with that.
100%.
I think a lot of people that follow the way the Constitution works. So when I talk about the original Constitution, I'm talking about when it goes back to prior to 1871, which means everything that they ratified or modified or added to the Bill of Rights or anything from that point forward was not constitutional way that we needed it to, the way that we're supposed to understand how the Constitution works. Would you agree with that?
There was actually 2 amendments that weren't ratified in the 1791 Constitution. There was one that was finally ratified in 1991 that said Congress cannot give itself a raise, and if it does, it cannot get that raise till the next voting session. So if they vote themselves a raise in like 1994, in 1996, that raise does not go into effect, so that those that voted in that raise did not get that raise unless they were able to be voted in. The second one that was not ratified, that was illegally hid by the state of, guess what, Connecticut, was that a representative could not represent more than 35,000 people. George Washington, that was the only amendment that George Washington stood up and agreed with. In fact, he wanted to drop it down to less than that, but they kept it at 35,000 people. We have 3,600 counties. We have a population of 384 million people in this United States. A representative that can only represent 35,000 people, that's over 6,000 representatives in the House of Representatives. It is still on the books. It has been ratified by 36 states. It has got 23 states left on the 3/4 state deal that they set up in the Constitution. 36 more states or 23 more states is all it takes to ratify that amendment, to where it basically removes the House of Representatives from Washington, D.C. and puts every one of them back in the county. Could you imagine Tim Burchett have to come in every day to his little office there in Blount County Courthouse and have to deal with the people that he's supposed to be representing, along with 15 other representatives in the county that are split up? So what, we have 115,000 people in this county now, so that's like four representatives, House representatives. They couldn't go to that big, pretty, posh Capitol building and walk into all that marble and all that grandeur and have all that posh deal. And I guarantee you, there's not a lobbyist that's going to be able to afford to be able to go in there and get the votes in when you have got over 6,000 representatives in there. They ain't gonna buy 6,000 different votes. They got to go to every state to do it. That's what's going to stop it. Is if we can get that original First Amendment passed. And this is from David Zuniga with practicalcivics.com. You can go read it. You go read his book. It's called The New Reset, is what he calls it. And he's got it lined out. And it is actually on the books. Connecticut hid it. Connecticut bought that one a lettering, or the wording of one, or the spelling of one word. And then they hid. They ratified it and then recalled the ratification, and then they hid the ratification in the basement. And a kid found it in the 90s, when this other kid found the.
Where are you going?
Well, what I'm going is this: that all this stuff was done, and it was done privately, quietly, hidden. And the states were able to do the same thing. They were able to de-ratify certain things because it was quiet. It was held secret.
Okay.
It wasn't public. And so that's why that woman asked Benjamin Franklin, what kind of government did you give us? And he said, a constitutional republic.
If you could keep
You
it.
could keep it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Now, he got them
Go
to
ahead.
Virginia, but there wasn't enough of them, so they had to regroup and come back to Pennsylvania.
Yep.
He gets them all in there under the guise of, look, I guess James Madison or whatever. But at that same time, the British are still in our country. I like the fact that you still called it back then. They were individual states, so almost like individual nations, which is why they had their own everything, their own commerce, their own, all that stuff like that. So, okay, we'll go on. I think Heath said that he believes now that we have a corporate charter being treated as a constitution. And he says, ever wonder why that the IRS is headquartered in Puerto Rico? Because if or when Americans ever wake up, they won't be able to seek legal remedy. And I don't know if that to be true or not. And Heath is not stupid, so he may be correct in what he's saying there. Puerto
Rico is not a state.
I know it's, what do they call that?
I
forget the name.
It's a territory.
Yeah, but they're allowed to vote, supposedly.
Well, it's a territory. It's the same as Nebraska and all the other territories that were set up in the Old West before they become states. They were still a commonwealth, is what it basically what is the Commonwealth of the United States. The same as Samoa. Greater Samoa is the Commonwealth
of the United States.
Yeah.
Great. It's just what we need. So, all right, let's carry on.
The federal government during the Articles of Confederation had no power at all. Literally no power at all. But what they looked at is they said, hey, look, there's a guy out there, I think it was Moreau. He was a British writer, political writer, Moreau. And he discussed that, all governments have three reigns of authority, right? Is you have the ability to make laws, the ability to enforce laws, and then the capability to adjudicate laws, right? So you have three different levels of authority that a government should have. And they took this in there with that whole idea that they segregated the power of each branch. The most important branch was the two houses, and obviously they split that up. The House of Representatives, which was elected by the people, the House of the Senate, which was elected by the states, which was elected by the state assemblies, and the state assemblies elected by the people. Then the Electoral College for the executive branch, and then the judicial branch was appointed for life by the executive branch. But
did you hear that, Scrappy?
Yeah, I heard it.
Did you hear where he talked about how the states, like, we vote for Senate now, but that's not how it used to be back then?
No, the Senate, its responsibility is the Senate were the representatives of the state, not of the people. They represented the state house and executive of the state. What he failed to remark was that the Supreme Court was given lifetime position under good behavior. If they acted under bad behavior, they can be removed by the
like an impeachment process.
The legislative body can remove the judges under impeachment the same as they can a president, because they have to be under good behavior. If our Congress would do what's supposed to be done under our Constitution, idiots like Kenzinji Brown or whatever her name is, and the other one in there that was put in charge, put as the dean of Harvard to queerify Harvard. Her butt been kicked out a long time ago, but they don't follow what the rule. And like I said, people like that talk about civics, they go around it. They don't say what's true because they don't want to get somebody's butt hurt, so they don't get somebody come in and say something that that's going to come back at them and maybe cost them, get them kicked off or whatever. But it says under good behavior.
So if we go back to what because you went down that rant, but if we go back to what he was talking about with the Senate, we voted the delegates in, and the delegates chose the Senate to send to Washington. That's how it used to work.
Yeah.
Now we vote representatives in, and those representatives are there, and then we vote for Senate and we vote for the Congress. So the other thing that wasn't mentioned as part of the history, but I don't know that he didn't do it on purpose, was the fact that when you ran for president back then, there was no vice president, president team. Everybody ran for president. So whoever got the most votes for president won it. Whoever was the second most votes was the vice president. And it didn't matter what you stood on. So like if you said back then you were Republican or Democrat, which that didn't exist at that time. It wasn't a two-party system back then.
Well, because they didn't want a two-party system.
I know.
Sam Adams was the one that said the worst thing, George Washington both agreed that the worst thing that could be done is a two-party system, because in England, they have a multi-party system, and look what they're dealing with right now.
It's weird.
They've got the Green Party, and they've got the Red Party, and they've got the Labor Party, and when you start doing that, and then they're about to get a Muslim party put in, so they're going to have four parties that are going to cut down what the percentage is on the voting, and Israel is the same way.
Hang on. You better stop it right now.
All right.
You better fucking backwards. Stop it. No, stop it. There we go. All right, we're moving on.
What they did is they segregated the authority of government throughout this. And at the time, I don't think they really understood the impact of what they were really creating. But what they are creating was a system that has lasted 250 years towards this day right now. And it works. And it works so beautifully that Donald Trump, the duly elected president of the United States of America, who won the popular vote, who won the electoral college, cannot get anything fucking done because you have people within the judicial, judge side, legal side, and people within Congress and Senate that impede and impose on what he is trying to get done.
Would you agree with that?
No.
No?
Nope. Because again, he's talking about a system that was not set up at the beginning. It's not a 250-year system. This is a system that's set up in 1871 by the corporation and then in 1933 when they bankrupted the United States, all that changed. Every bit of that has changed. We are living under a bankrupt system where we have a CEO, not a president. And we have a House of Representatives that aren't House of Representatives or senators, either one. They are, what is it called? They are the...
they're sponsors by the biggest buyer.
Well, what they do, what they are is they are, if you ever been on a bankruptcy, when you go to bankruptcy court, you have a CEO, and then you have boardmen of the bankruptcy, and they are the ones who let you say what you can spend and what you can't spend on in the corporation when you're under bankruptcy. So that's what we're dealing with right now. We are not dealing with a constitutional republic form of government. We are dealing under a bankruptcy court. That's why they can print money without any backing in the money. It's all IOUs that you get, and it's it's a mess that they've gotten us into. It's why they can regulate laws. It's why they've got judges that can say, no, Mr. President, you can't spend that money that way because you are a CEO of a bankruptcy. You're not a president of a country. Or we actually don't have a country. That's under Abraham Lincoln. You aren't. So in 1870, whenever the Civil War ended, and the South had to come back into slavery under the Northern aggression, that made us a country instead of 18, 20 different separate countries, one whole country. The capital United, capital States, capital of America, and then the bankruptcy of 1933 kind of put the nail in the coffin and put the original republic to rest. That's what we're dealing with. That IRS and all that come into effect at that point, and Social Security come into effect at that point. It's all socialism. It's all based on socialism. And JFK, or not JFK, RF, what is his name?
Not sure.
You're
not talking about JFK.
No, not John F. Kennedy. Roosevelt. Roosevelt was a communist, and that's why he was the only president to take 3 terms of presidency, because he wanted to make it a tyranny. But thank the Lord that the God Almighty struck him down with polio, and he couldn't do a 4th term, because he would have done the 4th term if he could. I mean, he's a straight up communist, and our country was taken over, and he, I mean, Uncle Joe. You know, Joseph Stalin was called Uncle Joe, and a drunk prime minister of Britain who was a druid, a Satan worshiper. I mean, the war crimes that those people did in World War II are just, I mean, and they just sweep it under the rug like it's no big deal. They incinerated 2.5 million people in Germany.
Here you go again. I'm gonna have to stop.
Well, they want to talk this stuff. Let's bring the truth out. Let's stop this going around the bush about stuff. Let's not try to make it. Let's not give it this little old fancy thing. Well, we're 250 years of. No, we're not. We aren't. We have not been 250 years of a constitutional republic. Our constitutional republic was freaking overthrown 175 years ago in the Civil War.
I say there's an alternate reality that the Constitution's right here and the other one's right here, and if we could get back onto that track where the Constitution was at,
that's where we need to be, and that's why our founding fathers gave us the choice to do that. We have the choice. We have the right. We have the civic responsibility to do just that, to get our country back on the track that it was thrown off of by tyrants that were allowed to take control and use our laws against us.
Right. So we're supposedly electing officials that are conducting business in D.C. that goes against the oath that they took, and that by that very measure right there, that makes them unfit for office. I don't know that it makes them tyrannical to the point of where it says death, but under an investigation, it could possibly it could possibly be that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's treasonous acts. It's
True.
treasonous acts under under the original Constitution, under the writings of the original 1791 Constitution that was ratified by our founding fathers, by our uh, our representatives of that day, and yeah, they should be tried by that. And every person who's standing up there who are not going back to that reading, and they take that Black's Law book that they look at, throw it out because it's a bunch of lies too that was rewritten. The Black's Law dictionary is not the definition of what the original Harvard Law Dictionary wrote.
Well, we know that they do a fantastic job of doing their best to rewrite history and changing the definition of words based on whatever's going on culturally at the time. So we have a public education system where I learned all these things, and a third of what they told me was probably truth, where the other 2/3 was history that was added that they say there's proof out there. I don't necessarily believe that proof exists because it was supposed to go the direction that it ended up being. You know what I mean? We know that we can go back to 1871 and we see a different constitution before that. So you got what, 1776, and then 25 years later, 1792, when it was all finally finalized. So from 76 to 92, like he said, 25 years. Then you got from 92 to 1871. So in that span, the Constitution operated the way it was supposed to per the people. And here's the other thing. When we talk about the Constitution, because this is how we were told in school, the Constitution was not meant for us. The Constitution was meant for the elected officials. This is what you're allowed to maintain, and you're not allowed to go over that because we are the Constitution. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, that's what it is. We the people. We the people are the government. We control what is said and done in our separate country, in our separate my little piece of property that I have here in Blount County. That's my country. That little piece of property that you've got over there in Blount County, that's your country. We are a bunch of countries in a country that agree to meet together in a little spot that is, what's the word? It doesn't have any power. All it is a meeting place.
Right.
A meeting place for our representatives to go to and give our demands as separate countries in a larger country that we call, we accept ourselves as being Tennesseans.
Yep.
Because that's what they used to call themselves.
Yep.
You weren't an American citizen. You was a Tennessean.
That's right.
I'm an Eastern Tennessean. I'm a Western Tennessean. I'm an Alabamian. I'm a Minnesotan. I'm a Michiganite.
I think it's a Michigander.
Well, we call them Michiganites around here. But anyway.
But what you're saying is true. And see, if you try to talk to people today about our country existed that way, they just cannot see that. It just doesn't. They can't wrap that around their mind. You know what I mean? You're trying to tell me that Tennessee was its own country within the United States of America. Yeah.
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 Well, and when the Civil War, they have rewrote history around the Civil War. In the original Constitution, the states were allowed to do what the Southern states did. They were allowed to dissolve their agreement with the federal government of the lowercase United States of America.
They had a what is it called? Is it the General Welfare Clause? I don't think that's what it is. Anyway, it's a set of rules that Congress has a set of rules that it goes by, and the president has a set of rules it goes by, and outside of them rules, nothing else pertains. So if we talk about Second Amendment stuff, the Second Amendment is for them to not infringe our rights. It doesn't matter what kind of weapon we have. Now, when you tell that to somebody, so what do you mean, Brian? You're allowed to have a helicopter with all that stuff on it? Absolutely, I am allowed to, because
Let me explain. Let me explain what infringement means.
Just don't go too long.
I'm not going to do that. Infringement, when the British Navy would capture a ship of another country, they would put a fringe around a yellow fringe around the border of their flag, so that ship, when it was going back to Britain to be refurbished and refit, and those naval men were being converted back to Britain under Britain rule, that fringe would allow other British ships to understand that ship had been captured by the Britain Navy. That's what infringement means. That's why they wrote that in that article. That's the only article in the Bill of Rights that has that statement in it that says these rights cannot be infringed. They cannot be taken over by any government, by any rule, by anything at all. Period.
But they do.
So, but they try.
Yeah, they try.
And they do only because we, the people, don't stand up and say, it can't be infringed. Take that fringe off our flag. And it kills me to see any meme where so-called Donald Trump is sitting there wrapping his arms around a United States flag that's infringed with a yellow fringe stating that it has been captured. I've got a flag right here behind me. It doesn't have a fringe on it.
Mine either.
My flag is not being infringed by any country. And we, the people, need to stand up and say that fringe needs to be taken off every flag that's in Washington, D.C. Because as long as they're flying that fringe flag, that means that we've been captured.
They don't, but see, they don't understand that. I know what you're saying, and I understand that. I don't know how far we are truly into the whole captured thing, but my version of captured is that the banking system runs through London, the religious system runs through the Vatican, and the United States is what polices whatever those two decide. The old guard type stuff. So
no, religion doesn't run through the Vatican anymore.
According to the old guard, it does.
The old guard, but not the new guard.
Well, I mean, we're in the middle of that transition and people don't see it. And so, like, you know how you're talking about some of the things that happened later in life that people didn't understand that led us to where we are now. People get upset about what Donald Trump is doing, and I have a difference of opinion of him. I think he is absolutely the China in the bull shop. He's in there. He's destroying the Democratic Party and the Republican Party because he's trying to show the country that they're together, called the Uniparty. It's deep state. It's the globalists. You know what I mean? And the ones that run the world, he's doing the same thing too on that level as well. He's showing us, the American people, and other people out there in the world, that no matter what direction he goes to try to make things better as a whole, what I mean is free trade, although they blame him for tariffs. Well, the tariffs came about because of we had free trade with everybody in the world, but our trade it cost us. You know, it wasn't free from us to them. It was free from them to us. You know what I mean? So,
well, it's because our monetary system has been captured and controlled by a the Bank of England.
The old
Bank
guard.
of England.
The old guard.
And guess who runs the Bank of England? Israel.
See, again, I don't believe that.
Oh yeah.
I know. I don't believe. No. I don't believe that is, and I'm glad you brought Israel up. So, because this is where we're going. I don't believe Israel runs any of that. I believe Israel, not the people. The people that are the ones that claim to be in charge of Israel, the BBs and all of them. They are a part of that old guard, that old state. Israel does not exist without the monetary funds of the United States taxpayer or the military. Without it, Israel is just a little country over there that can do as much damage as its little country could create based on off of what it could have without the financial backing of the United States of America.
Israel was created by the Rothschilds.
I don't know who they were created by.
Israel, the state of Israel was created by the Rothschilds.
Your opinion?
Lord Rothschild made the Belfast Agreement, and that was where Britain, King Andrew, before he died, went and bought that little parcel of property. They already had control of Palestine during after World War II. They had the control of Palestine, and they sectioned off that little piece of property over for the state of Israel to move the so-called Israelites, the Jews that were so-called supposedly Holocausted in. I have my doubts about the whole thing. The 6 million, you can go back 1901, all the way to 1901. There was always 6 million Jews that were being killed in Europe, all the way through to the 40s. And I know I'm pissing a lot of people off. I don't care. It's the truth. You can read it. You go look it up, find yourself. It's online. It's in paper. It's documented well. But the Rothschilds created that little bit of area and moved those people in and started that genocide in 1947.
I don't know about all that, Scrappydawg.
And
I know that
Rothschild is the one who owns the banking industry, and the Rothschilds were the one there's 5 families who started the Federal Reserve under Woodrow Wilson, who again was a communist, bold-faced, admitted communist, and in 1913, and Rothschild was number one family in the creating of the Federal Reserve. So yeah, our banking industry has been controlled by Britain, and British industry has been controlled by the Jews, or they're not Jews. They're Khazarians is what they are. And they are from Ukraine and that area. I mean, and it pisses a lot of people off. But it's the truth. And if you got a problem with it, you heard me earlier, who to go look up on Facebook and come and hit me up with it. Now I can give you on Facebook, I can give you that documentation. I can copy and paste that documentation and put it right in your pocket and let you read it for yourself and understand that we are no longer a constitutional republic, as much as many people want to say we are. No, we're not. We have been captured. We have been controlled, and we are being slowly, meticulously moved into a communist government, socialist government. Socialist is just communism easy, which eventually runs into communism. And until we all stand up and realize that.
I would say you're right about the government, but not we.
No, but the government is pushing us into it. And it's going to come down to, it's going to come down.
No. It's not going to push us into, there's way too many of us. And they try to make us believe that there's way more of them, and that doesn't exist. So if here's the thing, if the government ever comes at us like that, as a whole, the country will kick its ass individually.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But until it comes, well, it took 3% of the population in 1776 to push the country that the sun never set on, the British government, to run their asses out. But there were mitigating circumstances that did that, is that they were stuck fighting 2 wars. They were also having to fight India because India was fighting for its independence as well.
India plays a role in all this too.
India plays a big role in it. So it's like this. It's like until we, the people, get our butts back and our minds back and our hearts back into the mindset that our founding fathers was, that we were, that our Creator gave us these rights, gave us these powers, and we, under our Creator's responsibility and our Creator's guidance, can bring this country back. Till then, it ain't going to happen. We're going to have to put our hearts and minds back into the hands of the Creator and let the Creator do it. Till then, we can sit here and talk about it all day long, but when push comes to shove, we're in, and they go to 1910. The reason Russia didn't get into World War I was because they were fighting their own people and killing their own people during the Bolshevik Revolution, and they were a bunch of Jews, what we call Jews today. The Khazarians at that time were, the Bolsheviks were killing every Christian, every Russian, and anybody that went against their decision, and they killed over 60 million people. But by gosh, I'm telling you what, Hitler was the worst man in the world. Wow. Lenin and Stalin, oh, they're sweet people.
Well, somehow you've managed to get the whole world involved.
Well, it is involved. The whole world is involved. That's our problem. Is that this whole thing's a global identity? We don't need it. We don't need a global identity. We don't need the rest of them. We never needed the rest of the world. United States started out alone, standing on its own, didn't need nobody. Brought a lot of the world up in the past with its industrialization, with its entrepreneurship, and all of a sudden, we need the world. We don't need nobody. We never needed nobody. We've got the greatest person on our side. That's the Lord Jesus Christ. Always has been. And we just forgot it and moved away from it. And until we get back to it, nothing's going to change.
Kim Tipton says the Khazarian Mafia.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
so the 250 UFC fight that's going on the White House lawn, the first match, America lost. The second match, America won. I guess it's America versus somebody with each match. So it's on Paramount Plus. I don't know if you
it's all bread and circuses.
What's that?
That's all bread and circuses. Caesar did it. How do I keep people? How do I keep the people calm
Uh-uh.
and control? I give them bread and circuses.
They brought in the Easter Bunny and all them little gay ass people and them transgender with the Biden administration, and they propped them all over that White House lawn and run around with a man and
It's
boobs and
bread and
this and that.
circuses is what it is. It's
And
all
so
bread and circuses.
all they did was they put real fucking men in a match on the White House lawn to show the rest of the country that we're not weak. There ain't a man in that match. There ain't a woman in that match that's got a penis. Yeah, so I don't care that Trump did that. And here's the other thing: it cost the taxpayers to bring the
WWE, brother.
I
I'm
get it.
sorry, WWE, brother.
It's
They ain't none of it
UFC.
real. WWE, brother. It's all
UFC.
WWE.
No,
I've
it's not.
watched it my whole life. I've seen them. I've been to the restaurants and watched them sit there and beat themselves bloody and go to the restaurants with their bandages on their heads, loving each other and smacking each other on the back, saying, "A good show, good show, good show." Ain't
Dude,
none
that's
of it
wrestling.
real.
UFC's real.
No, UFC just as fake
Whatever.
Oh, okay.
That's a damn conspiracy theory. Look at you.
It's not. It's just as fake as that. Oh yeah, and what was it? You're fired.
What the show?
Yeah, the show.
Yeah,
that was just as real as everything. Yeah, right. Okay.
We know that TV's not real, so you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Okay. So what are they paying this? What are they putting this UFC on?
Well, so they put the UFC on because Trump wanted to give the White House a different.
What's it on?
It's on Paramount.
TV. It's on TV. It's on TV.
How else you gonna watch it, Scrappy?
There ain't nothing on TV that's real.
Look, everybody's got a plan till you get punched in the mouth, and that's how it works in the UFC. Look.
Yeah. Let's see how many UFC. How many? Let's say. Can we say Brez Loznick? Where'd he come from? UFC. Where'd he go? WWE. Where'd he go? Where'd he go back to? UFC. Okay, then Greg Shamrock. So the big Shamrock. Where'd he go? Yeah, it's all fake. It's all staged. Yeah, they'll take a punch.
You make more money in the WWE because
ask your son when they go out there and they're training and they're practicing. Are they playing? No. They're punching. They're busting lips. They're popping noses. You got to learn to dodge it. They hurt you. They hurt you in it.
Listen.
But they ain't doing it. They ain't hurting you to the point to where you can't go the next day. They ain't breaking arms. They ain't breaking legs.
You're supposed to be patriotic. What the hell's wrong?
I am patriotic, but I know fake when I see fake, and I call out fake.
And so Kim says it's central casting, which we all agree with that. Yeah.
What it is.
All right, Scrappy, we're gonna get off here. It's been a good show, man. It was good to see you again.
Good to see you, brother. And hey, let's get
Heath.
Get Heath on here. Let me and Heath get at you. Let me and Heath get watch you at the same time.
I'll talk to Heath, yeah. But we have to. Here's the thing: we got to find a topic, okay? Otherwise, you and Heath will talk everything under the sun. And
yeah.
You know,
the thing is, it's like it's a web, and it all intertwines in together.
I agree.
And it's hard to grab one.
I know
strand and pull one strand out, because when you pull one strand, other ones start breaking apart. And it's set up that way, and that's the problem. It's set up that way, and we have to.
It gets long-winded.
Figure out how to do it.
Yeah, the conversation gets long-winded because it just goes down. Just goes down a different. So if we can figure out how to keep it to, and it's hard. I agree. It's hard.
Oh yeah, I mean it is really hard.
I mean, I tried to keep it as structured as I could with you on this video, and you still went way off. And not saying what you were saying was wrong.
I tear them apart. I
was just trying to keep.
I like them. I like listening to these guys, but I'm sitting in the back pulling my hair out of my head because I'm like, you're missing this thread. You're missing this thread. You're letting this thread go.
I don't think
when you don't get those threads, I mean, we'll have to figure out a way to get a small threaded area, just a little bit of area that's threaded together, and start in the center and work out, and work those threads out, and then they'll lead, and then the listeners can at that point go from that small thread to the bigger thread.
But you have to remember, he was telling a small paraphrase story. So he didn't go into depth and detail. That's why I said it was 6 minutes, because I wanted you and me to go into the depth part, which we did for the most part. You know what I mean? Because they do, but I like them guys. I don't watch a whole bunch of different shows, but I do watch them too. And then a few others for the most part.
I'll tell you what, go to, tacticalcivics.com.
I have them, but I don't necessarily watch everything I don't always agree with what they say. I think.
Well, I don't. Well, I go and go to the website, the tacticalcivics.com website.
Okay.
You can go to the book. You go to and David Zuniga and other writers have other books that you can go on and you can download for free.
Yeah.
Pay nothing. You have to join. You have to join the civics.com, but you can read their book and read what they're saying and what they're talking about. And they do that. They take little threads. They take a little area. David Zuniga does the Great Reset, and his idea is how to get. We've got 36 plus 100 counties in the United States. And if we take one county at a time, just take one county at a time and get the state to ratify that that true First Amendment that Connecticut hid and didn't ratify it, so it's been sitting in hold, like that 19-year-old did in 1991, that made Congress not be able to give themselves a raise and collect their raise as soon as it got signed into law. They had to wait till their next cycle, to get their raise. If we can get it to where a representative only has 36,000 people that they can represent, that takes them that takes the representatives out of Washington, D.C., puts them back in the state. The Senate stays the same. It's always going to be 100 people.
Yeah, always, yeah.
Well, till we bring more states in. I mean, if we bring in Canada, Greenland, under Donald Trump.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. You know what I mean?
But it's always going to be, so they'll always be in D.C.
Yeah.
But our representatives who actually have the litigation, they make the laws, they control the purse. They have the most power. The most power is in our representatives.
Yeah.
The Senate represents the state. The legislation, it basically controls, and it okays or denies the laws. But if we can get control of the representatives, we can bring us back to an actual representative government and get it out of the hands of the corporation.
Good deal,
but you can go. Like I said, go read the books. David wrote many of them. There's other books. Other guys that wrote books, and see what they got to say. I mean, it's a learning experience. Like I said, don't listen to what I say. Don't listen to what you say. Don't listen to what these other podcasts say.
Yeah. Go look for yourself.
And look for yourself.
Yeah.
Find it yourself. Don't listen to what your pastor tells you on Sunday morning on that pulpit. Get your book out and read it for yourself, because there are books out there that these pastors are reading that are lying to you about what actual Word of God said.
See, now you're going down another damn rabbit hole.
I'm trying
to close the show. Let's close the show and let's close the show with this. All right. 30 seconds. Go.
30 seconds. The only way that we are going to get our republic back is the men are going to have to take their balls out of their wives' purses, put them back in their nut sacks, and stand up. It's time for the men of accounting to take their sorry butts. If you got to take a couple hours off early from work on a Thursday, get your butt to the county commission. If you don't like what's going on, you don't want to see your property get stolen. You don't want to see your neighbor's property get stolen. You don't want to see what's going on in our county. You don't want to see the traffic. You don't want to see the roads getting overrun. Get your voice out there. Man up. It's time hillbillies man up. I know we got a bunch of transplants, but I know we got a bunch of redneck transplants out there. Get your big beefed up black Ford F-150s stacked 24 inches off the ground, drive them up to the courthouse, take your happy butt up there, put it on that bench, and when it comes time to talk, tell them about it. Tell them you're done. You're tired. You moved to Blount County for a nicer way of living. You didn't move to Blount County to live in the same crap that you come from. It's time to stand up, be men, and have a voice.
Okay, that was 90 seconds.
Yeah. I'm done.
You're done? All right,
I'm
brother.
done.
I had a good talk. It was fun.
Good talk, brother. Let's get together sometime.
We will.
And go fishing. Let's go fishing.
Fishing. That might sound fun. Yeah, yeah.
You kayak?
I've never done it, no,
Get a kayak. We're going down Little River on a kayak before they destroy the dams and destroy it where we can't do it no more.
Sounds good, man.
Let's do it.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you later.
All right. You got it, brother. See you. Bye.
All right, man. That's only wisdom that you can get from Scrappydawg. There's not one like him anywhere else. I can only imagine. So he is the Gandalf of Blount County, which I forgot to mention to him while he was on air with me. And anyway, but that's who he is. And so it's never a dull moment with Scrappydawg, and it's truly hard to keep him focused on what you want to talk about, because once he gets going, man, he carries, and he's not wrong in what he's saying. He just keeps it right on going into. He was like, I didn't really know that. I'm glad you said that. But back to the point we was talking about. So it's fun keeping him in topic and all that. So also I appreciate everybody in the chat. Miss Kim Tipton, love the fact that she supports us. Heath Betag is on YouTube, or was, and hopefully we'll get him back on the show again soon. Him and Scrappydawg ought to be real interesting. I think it's a night where I'll just sit back like this and not say nothing until we got an hour and a half and just watch what happens. It would be very, very fun. So, but yeah. Anyway, like, share, follow. I'll let everybody know when the website's ready, and we'll go from there. So, everybody, I appreciate y'all. Listen to a little bit of People on the Porch before I go. Peace out. Oh, by the way, there's UFC fighting on the White House lawn. It appears that we're 1-1. America, 1 win, 1 loss. Go America. If we're going to do it, we might as well win it all right. Despite what Scrappydawg says, yeah, go America. Have a good evening.
My heart, pumping all day long. Get me the morning when darkness comes. My heart, ooh.
same within. My heart, pumping all day long. When the evening comes, please stay strong. Give me the morning when darkness falls. My heart, I found victory in the Father's love from the day we wed, and those vows still hold true. Nothing's gonna tear me down until the day I'm dead. My heart belongs to you. I'm a heart, this time put your faith with me. I'm a heart that tries to find what you love, and there's no breaking it. I'm a heart, this time put your faith with me. I'm a heart that tries to find what you love, and there's no breaking it. I'm a heart, this time put your faith with me. I'm a heart that tries to find what you love, and there's no breaking it. I'm a heart, this time put your faith with me. I'm a heart that tries to find what you love, and there's no breaking When it's always at my back is always strapped with these things that I call my own. Life, it isn't always grand, but when you finally take that stand, you become a man. You needed to You meant everything to me. While you left, I could not see. I guess people just do what they want. Time, it goes faster every day, and my heart, it leads the way, while the future, it fades into a memory. Is always at my back. My back is always strapped with these things that I call my own.